Happy New Year's.
Motherfucker. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast. This is your weekly podcast, and you know what we do? It's that whole minute-by-minute thing. 1986 Transformers movie. You can't be at episode 42 and not understand what the gist of this thing is. Because it's episode 42, we are at the 41:01 to 42-minute mark. That's what we're covering today. And in the spirit of the new year, with me are two gentlemen who are going to have a crack at turning over a new leaf. Yes, they're taking stock of life and are making a fresh start. After all, the early bird catches the worm, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. So these two men are blowing away the cobwebs and finding that new lease on life. They've taught me that when you're at the crossroads, nothing's better than a breath of fresh air, going back to square one, back to the drawing board, and opening the door to a freshly paved path to a clean slate. Thank you, gentlemen. Please introduce yourselves.
Fresh air, more like hot air. I'm Ryan with a hot take.
I think you said something about blowing away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to blow something away.
Right, men, as we approach the new year, are there any vices that you'd care to commence bud nipping?
Oh, Ryan's got so many.
Well, I was outed on the last episode of my falling down fetish.
That's right. I didn't know this about you, and I've known you as long as I've known anybody.
It's a deep secret.
You love to watch people fall down the stairs. That makes you come.
More than love.
So something maybe that the ghost of Christmas present would
I believe that's right.
absolve you from.
So I will stop tripping Caleb.
Thank you. I'm going to stop falling. Apparently.
Great resolutions indeed. So I guess this is a reminder. Hey, I did have it in my notes here. Maybe
Okay.
I did recognize it.
A rinder?
A reminder. This is a reminder that we are in the final few days of listener appreciation season. In fact, is this the final one day?
Yeah, it's New Year's Eve, baby.
God, I hope so.
And which we've extended through today. A little gracias to those that have expressed their enjoyment of the show. Just leave us a review on iTunes and send us an email. Or a little private message via our at Autopod Decepticast, at Apod Decast Twitter handle. Give us your address, a little something will come your way. And that stuff is coming together well. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say what it is, but Caleb's contribution
I've been done for weeks.
Yeah, actually, Caleb was the first.
That's true. I just started last night.
Last night being
2
weeks ago.
Yes, the 21st.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'd say I'm 50% done. But we're going to wrap it up. And it's going to be awesome, and we hope you guys really like it. So we'd invite you that those of you, let's not forget, who have already reviewed, that haven't already provided us with your address. There's a handful of you out there. Please reach out, give us a message. It's easy. We would love to share the goods with you. I'd say the goods a lot.
It's your go-to.
And by the goods, they so often means genitals, but we're not sending you anything genital related.
Let's be clear. We do not want people sharing their genitals with us, and I don't, and we are not sharing our genitals.
That's true. Oh wait, I
mean,
guess
I
Ryan hasn't made his thing.
I have access to those addresses too.
I am not wanting nor providing. There's no genital cycle here. There's no cycle of genitalia going on in this world.
Cycle of genitalia.
Genital cycle. That is an uncomfortable bike.
Yes.
Last episode recap.
Happy New Year!
I'm wearing my full tuxedo.
I don't know how 2018 can top the awesome year of 2017.
It can't be much worse.
What are you looking forward to in 2018?
I hate that. I hate that.
I kind of like it.
I don't like it at all.
Is that something you do?
Captain.
All right, so last episode, Ultra Magnus forgets RC exists. Mm-hmm. All the ships have taken off, and somehow, unexplainedly, they've lost the Decepticons. And that's where we are. In this minute 41.
That's right, minute
41 to 42.
So it's episode 42, though.
It's
Yes,
episode
right.
42.
Oh my God, we can't go
Meaning
down
that-
this road again.
No, but
It's the 42nd minute.
meaning that this episode
It's the
should be able
42nd
to
minute of the movie. Go ahead.
Right. So this episode should be able to provide the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
I didn't do any Douglas Adams research in preparation
No,
for
you
this.
did not.
R.I.P.
But I did.
Oh,
No,
excellent.
I didn't really.
Oh,
Oh,
I was like, awesome.
It's an
There should
off-brand.
be a Douglas Adams and Transformers universe crossover.
Why?
Why not? Let's write that. That's our next project. Ford, Arthur, Trillion, Zaphod, meets Hot Rod, Cup,
The Dinobots.
the time. All right, well, as we kick things off in this minute, 41:00, everyone is kind of chilling, man. Everybody's chill as fuck. Cup is holding court with the Dinobots.
Yeah, telling a story.
That's right. His favorite war stories, the Dinobots, they're making faces like, what the fuck? Also, why do Dinobots have eyeballs?
Their eyeballs are a real, like, throughout, they're a problem.
I don't
Grimlock
like it.
doesn't, though. He doesn't have eyeballs, like in the same way that all the other Dinobots do.
Ugh, I don't want it.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it. I hated it in the Marvel comics whenever eyeballs would show up in characters.
yeah.
Even in Andy Wildman, who I love his art.
True.
Even when he would do the occasional eyeball, I did not like it. But so the Dinobots, I guess the one good thing about eyeballs is it helps you understand that they don't like the story necessarily or where it's at in the story. Grimlock gets agitated. He commands to hear the good part of the
Cut
story.
to the chase.
And he kind of knocks Swoop to the ground when he does it.
Not on purpose, but just like, blah.
You know, just a kind of an ignorant, like, it's the way my own dumb dog will whap everything with
Yes.
its tail and knock shit over.
Tell Swoop apart.
Again, they stay in their dino mode. Mm-hmm. It's fascinating that they do so. And they're not
Which
in their...
carries through into season 3. They do that mostly in season 3 also. The only difference being Swoop, whenever anybody's walking, he has to be in robot mode because it's fucking awkward to have him walk. We are paused at 41:16, and it's his tail, but it looks like a Swoop on his back looks like he has a wiener.
Something like a wiener.
Which I always thought was the same thing with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics. Whenever I drew them sometimes, it looked like because they had tails in the comics, and it sometimes to me looked like a penis.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that those thin metallic wings can like pick that thing up and fly it around, but
It's like Rat Bat.
that's
Like, there's no boosters.
Again, it should be a
Look at
hovercraft,
his-
but no,
look
they
at his-
flap.
Look at his feet.
The
Yeah, it's
giant
quite
triangular
ridiculous.
feet. We could pick apart this drawing. I like how his robot arms are obviously to the side.
Yeah,
of his,
that's not even how he
like
transformed.
he's not a very.
No, they
There he
pushed
is up
into his
there.
side, though.
There he is up there, and his robot arms. We're looking at the
He
Fan
looks-
Toys Soar, I believe is the
The
name.
fan toys looks much better than what I'm looking at on the screen
All
here.
right, well,
I feel like the original Hasbro G1 toy, the arms pushed
Pushed
into
in
his
a little
body.
bit.
I tell you what,
I think you're
if
right.
I was rooting for the Autobots here, I'd be pretty worried. 'Cause it's a ship of fools. It is a ship of fools.
so
Okay.
Swoop on the ground at this point, but
Dallas story.
That's
hang on a minute. Hang on a second. Can I
Are
possibly
you just
rewind?
watching his head go back?
Yeah,
No.
just with the
Yeah.
talking of the
Oh.
tail as the dick.
I can't not see that now.
41:17. He lays back,
I-
with his penis
I
exposed.
cannot not see that.
I would like a little oil
All
trickled
right,
out.
Stop.
we are perverts. So Cup gets the message, and he fast forwards to the good part and begins to tell the tale of the Ick-Yak
Yes.
that came tromping and stomping down the mountain.
What's an Ick-Yak?
Well, I looked it up. I Googled it. I can't remember. Apparently, there's an episode in season 3 where he talks about Ick-Yaks again, or somehow maybe they revisit it. And it's this thing, which needs to go on our website.
It looks like Figment from the Disney World. I believe it's Epcot ride. It's a Figment, the dragon, is what it looks like. But yeah, I'll put a picture of it up.
It looks so stupid.
I like that. I always love the quotes on the Transformers wiki. Is this Transformers wiki? Or
Oh,
is it
this
fandom?
isn't, but I think all this copy is stolen from the Transformers Wiki. This is actually Transformers
It
Wiki.
looks,
Anyway.
yeah, it looks kind of like that mechanical dragon Scooby-Doo ran into when he met Sandy Duncan.
There's nothing scary about this creature at all. But at any rate, that's the story that Cup is telling. And while he continues to tell that story, Hot Rod is sparring with some kind of drone bot.
I'm sorry.
No, please.
It's a direct rip-off of Luke Skywalker
Totally.
sparring with did I steal your thunder? Were you going to mention that?
No.
Well, to the point where I listened to it several times, there is a faint lightsaber sound in there, which, I mean, Nelson Shin helped
Let's
animate
not forget
Yeah.
Nelson Shin.
I mean, that's exactly
is
what
the
it
animator of the lightsaber.
And the droid doesn't have a name in this movie, but later he's named the Auto Combatant. And
Yes.
he's voiced by Frank Welker in this movie.
No shit.
And then, but he's the robot's not named until the Ladybird book adaptation of the movie. It's a storybook that just used stills from the film,
Like Ladybird Johnson?
exactly like Ladybird Johnson. No,
They had a
Ladybird,
Ladybird-
the hit movie that's out in theaters right now.
It's all connected.
Oscar
So
buzz.
wait. There's a Ladybird edition of
it's the name of
Transform-
the company, is Ladybird Books, basically, and it scaled back the deaths. There was the attack on the shuttle. All they say is the Autobot crew had been overcome. Unicron is described as snow-capped in planet mode. And this part I did like. In the beginning, when Laserbeak is spying, he's a cassette hidden in a computer console, which makes way more sense.
I feel like we need a whole special episode dedicated to Ladybird Books
Maybe.
version of Transformers.
I want a whole episode dedicated to Ladybird Johnson.
It's a spin-off podcast.
Yeah, where we talk about how she seeded wildflowers along the interstate highways of the state of Texas.
Is that all she did?
Yes.
Is that what she's known for? Actually, that's true. There is the Ladybird Johnson Museum outside of Austin, Texas, and it's all about wildflowers.
Fuck yeah.
Ladybird.
Ladybird.
Thank
Ladybird.
you for your
Ladybird.
work.
All right.
So Hot Rod spars, and he comes back and is like, hey, are we being productive?
Yeah.
Maybe we should realize that the Decepticons are probably going to be on our ass again soon, and we should figure out how to deal with that, figure out how to save Cybertron. This isn't really a time for storytelling.
I think he's whining.
Here's the thing. It's at like 41:35 when he says it, and I'm like, don't we have better things? Motherfucker, you're sparring with a droid. What are you
And
talking about?
He's in
Better
fight
things to
mode.
do.
No, he's keeping limber.
Yeah, but he's fighting a droid that is not armed with anything.
That's true,
The
it's
droid
not.
is blocking his lightsaber with his own bare arms.
This is the one time I feel like Hot Rod's actually showing leadership qualities.
I think he's whining.
yeah.
He's Luke Skywalker right here.
Well,
He's so Luke Skywalker.
it's so Luke Skywalker.
I never really realized that before.
Well, we did do
gets a lot
a
of
little
parallels.
meme that compared him to Luke Skywalker
We
using
did?
this exact scene. Yeah, I think it's early in our Twitter feed.
Maybe it is.
I created it.
It went
I
over
did.
really well.
You did. It was good.
I might have got one like, but
liked it.
I didn't get all upset about it.
I have problems.
It was back when we had 10 followers. So the Dinobots don't like Hot Rod's idea of everything.
Tell story.
They want to hear the
tell
story.
story.
Because, they're dumb babies. And as they throw a selfish tantrum, the drone bot comes up from behind and pops Hot Rod a good one. Hot Rod a good one in the head.
Rot Road.
As Hot Rod kind of turns around, he looks like he's going to probably
He's
rip.
got a shield. I
Yeah,
just
he does
noticed
have a
that.
shield with the Autobot symbol on it.
Yeah. So he's about to rip that thing's head off, and the robot's like, time out. And at about that time, we see flashes of light. Galvatron's ship. Do you guys remember the name of the ship? Trivia?
The Revenge.
Very good.
We did.
It has closed in on the Autobots.
Yeah.
And as we close out the minute, Galvatron pushes a green button, which
Launches everything.
fires a number, a random number of missiles.
That's right.
And that is where we end this minute. I love the idea of a single button performing a specific function.
It is very. Maybe it's a dial. You turn it to
I
like
love
select. It's like
We've found the Autobots. I'll push the launch 6 missiles button.
It's a button for each thing. Yeah, it's great. That in the script is referred to as the flat top carrier. That's coming up in my that ship, which is pretty descriptive, I guess. I don't know how I fell down this rabbit hole of like this is from the TF Wiki I was looking up, but it was like there was before this movie came out, there was a poster contest called Decipher the Decepticon. I'm just bringing this up because I didn't have much to say about this minute. Okay. But it was a promo for the movie, and it was a sweepstakes contest. There was flyers included with the toys, and it was like a quartered poster. If you put the 4 posters together, it made a big poster. Right. And it was like you had to complete various sentences with the names of the characters, like Hot Rod is fighting with blank, and basically at the end, you'd unscramble. I don't know how you could ever do this, but the circled letters in the answer, you would unscramble the name of the, quote, evil, horrible enemy planet who tries to dominate everyone, which is terrible copy.
But also a very obvious clue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you could or if you're not good at that, you could also find the answer with a self-addressed stamped envelope. You just send off for the answer.
I couldn't figure out this one.
And the sweepstakes prizes there were 5 grand prizes of an electric hot rod go-kart valued at $2,500.
Ooh, so those exist?
In $1986,
and that
that's
would be
like $5,000.
You're very close. It's $5,550.
That's expensive.
Yeah, and they said this on the TF Wiki that they weren't able to find any pictures of it online. So if anybody can find those or knows what that looks like,
is there any chance one of the perhaps 1,000
Hot Rod
listeners
Go-Karts
won this? If you
A 55
know somebody who won this grand prize, I'm wondering if this is a scam of some sort.
Even in today's
or
money,
Scamola.
a $5,500 go-kart is pretty damn.
I mean, that's crazy.
No, $5,500. I mean, you can get a go-kart at Walmart for probably $1,200. Now,
Yeah.
go-karts. I mean, they were kind of first hitting the market hard, I guess, for recreational purposes.
Suppose a go-kart
in the 80s,
70s,
Yeah,
80s.
I mean, I'm thinking that go-karts is like probably
Yes.
economies of scale have gotten involved, and I don't know, other business words. So, anyway, enough about the price of go-karts.
Well, see, because I'm thinking
but that is
like,
expensive.
It
as fuck.
because when I first read it,
there's got to be. I hope if there's one out there somewhere.
Because when I first read it, I was thinking of like the big wheel, like motorized cars, but I'm like, it must have been a literal like gas-powered go-kart, which seems irresponsible to give a child. I don't know.
You ship it to them?
Well, I'm just saying it seems like one of those like ATV things because that's
Yeah.
$5,000 in
Yeah.
today's money.
My friend Joe Peabody, shout out to Joe Peabody, he had a go-kart. Probably it would have been about this time, 88,
Yeah.
87, 88.
Yeah. Was it
rocking-
a hot rod go-kart?
I mean, are we assuming that this go-kart was in the shape of Hot Rod? Like,
Well, yeah,
I
what does
guess
that
it
even-
would-
What does that even look like?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
No one has any pictures.
I googled it and I found some people who had like modded a Lamborghini to look like Hot Rod, but
so we don't know if anybody
I'm
won
really
this
curious
contest.
about this.
5 people supposedly did. And then there were 100 first prizes, which was a VHS copy of the movie. Real step down.
That's a big step down.
There were 100 of those given out. And then there were 1,000 second prizes, which was a reproduction Coming Attractions movie theater poster for the movie.
I'd still like to have one of those.
Sure.
Nowadays.
All right, so no new voice actors, but we would be covering, if we hadn't already covered him, we would be covering Michael Bell because Swoop talked in this, and this is Swoop's first speaking engagement. However, Michael Bell also, I'm trying to remember, did he do the voice? I can't remember why we covered him earlier because I don't think he's talked. He does sidewalk.
Oh, everybody remember that Transformer sidewalk? It was just a piece of just a brick of pavement.
He transforms.
He does Sideswipe and Prowl, and maybe we covered him. Maybe we covered him just because he was on screen. I can't remember. But he actually did have a vocal part in the movie. There's not much need to go into him, except I did go down a little rabbit hole of his, and you can find on YouTube some pretty awesome, what's basically called an animation voiceover masterclass. And you can find him giving, a range of students, instruction on how to be an animation voiceover artist.
pretty
And he
cool.
actually seems very nice and even-tempered, but yet firm and direct in his, evaluation of the students and what they need to do to get better. But so anyway, that's a thing that exists. Maybe we should take that class.
What are you talking about?
Not that the real characters of Starscream and Casey Kasem are not showing up every now and again.
Yeah, I think then also the voice of the iconic moment has been fleshed out to as much as it's gonna be. That's perfect on
It's
its
as
own.
good as it gets.
That's right.
Fans of animation or people that are interested in being voiceover artists, follow up on that.
Yeah.
Michael Bell.
It's time for.
Rip Deviations.
It's going to be a shame to edit that out.
No, that's staying in.
So my script I go first. Typically.
Sure.
I'm just reminding people. I tend to go first because the version of the
That's
script
Aaron
that I'm
speaking.
looking at, this is Aaron, for those of who can't tell Aaron and Ryan apart. I go first because my script is a little later. It's a later draft, and it's tamer. We let Ryan go second because the version of the script that he follows we think is either the first or second original Friedman script, and it's nutballs.
Right.
So
And then I don't talk about script deviations, but you guys can clearly tell the difference between me and the other two guys.
right, because your voice is, I mean, it's very beautiful.
So
It's-
lovely and chocolatey.
Yeah, like butter.
Chocolatey like butter.
Just
It's chocolatey like butter.
My script actually has this note in it, and it says that this part of the movie that we're watching that's on screen right now, a good thing to put at this part would be a song about optimistic adventure with the suggestions that all dreams might not happen.
oh my god, what?
That's a note.
That's
for this
a
part of the
very
movie.
specific song request.
Oh my god.
Optimistic adventure with the suggestion that all dreams might not happen.
You can dream your biggest dream, but I mean, don't get married to it. Because disappointment still occurs.
We're grown-ups, not kids.
Yeah.
Sadness happens. You just gotta deal with it.
Yep.
So anyway, Ultra
That's
Magnus,
awesome.
the whole congratulations bit happens via Ultra Magnus. And but he also says, he gives a little nod to the future. He says that they're going to go ahead and refuel on the junk planet, and from there they're going to work out their battle plan. So the junk planet,
So
I mean,
they're,
and actually
they're aware. They are
Yeah.
aware of junk.
I think in the next scene, I can't remember if it's the next scene or the scene after. I mean, they are aware the junk planet exists already, but I guess they're just bringing it up a little early, and it's tactically they're going to go there and regroup.
Yeah, because Perceptor does say the planet of junk is in this vicinity.
Right.
so they know about it.
Right. Well, they already knew about it, but I guess they didn't know about it this early. It wasn't when we watch it, and as we'll see in a couple minutes later, they only bring it up as sort of a last resort, where now it's kind of a first resort. I don't know. Anyway, Hot Rod's sparring partner in the version of the script that I have was to have many arms and legs and weapons coming from multiple, like maybe in one leg he's got a sword, and in one arm he's got a little cyber knife.
Whereas
hammer.
in the movie we see he has 2 arms, 2 legs, and no weapons.
weapons.
in
Right.
fighting Hot Rod.
But in this version of the script, that drone is a lot more of an asshole, because when Hot Rod is distracted, the sparring bot clobbers him. Hot Rod tells it to quit, but when he does that, it sticks out its metal tongue and gives him a loud
It's
raspberry,
in mine too.
and then continues to give Hot Rod cheap shots at every opportunity that he gets.
I kind of wish that stayed in. I think
That's like the second raspberry Friedman has put in here.
Loves the raspberry.
He loves it.
So that's all I've got.
Okay, let's see what I've got here.
it's no Siege of Autobot City, is it?
A lot of it is the same.
Siege 2.
There are some
Electric Boogaloo.
That's right. In this one, Galvatron and Cyclonus and the Decepticons are still on Earth whenever the Autobots escape. Remember in the Hyper Vault, if we all recall.
Yeah.
So they regrouped on Earth, or
The Decepticons never leave Earth to pursue them yet.
Okay.
Basically, we have wide shot that shows Scourge and Sweeps have piled another huge supply of energy cubes in the staging area. And Galvatron says, "Your bungling has cost me the sweet taste of vengeance I have hungered for. A taste I shall not be denied." Starting off, shouts at Scourge, "Maintain energy production. I shall see to the Autobots in Jester and victory."
That's right.
So
Yes.
okay, I'm sorry.
And victory!
I love that they keep bringing up that that catchphrase. Can you remind us what happened right before this in this minute? Like the Autobots got away somehow, obviously.
Yeah, the Hypervolt. It wasn't that
Hypervolt.
different. I mean, they basically
They just
took
did
off-
it
it's
from
just
Earth. It sounds like
a different way. Yeah.
It's
Well,
almost as if they were in Earth's atmosphere,
what do you mean?
or right outside of Earth's atmosphere.
No,
when
they
got
went
in
to
the
deep space.
Okay, and so the Decepticons had to have turned around,
The
or they
Decepticons-
just didn't pursue them.
Yeah, they didn't go after him.
So in my version of the script from last week, there was this whole space battle with asteroids and blowing
Oh, yeah,
them up
none
to
of that
provide
happened.
screens.
They just
in
escaped.
your
It's basically
version,
like-
somehow those big giant heavy ships were just they couldn't chase them.
or didn't. I mean, basically, like, it's the same thing as this, essentially, in that Galvatron now goes after them. But the interesting part and why I read that is that he gets onto a huge Decepticon wedge-shaped flat-top space carrier accompanied by an armada of Cyclonus jets, which I thought was interesting because it brought up the armada again.
Right.
And then, but here's another part where it really deviates, where they left other Autobots on Earth, which... I mean, I guess the movie never really addresses either because we cut to Blaster.
As far as we know, Blaster's the only person left on Earth.
Please tell me what Blaster says.
Yeah, Blaster, he's accompanied by other
can't
Autobot
wait.
survivors, Trailbreaker and Sunstriker. All show battle damage, and they're guerrilla fighters now. And Blaster says, the shuttle's made it through, but we still got lots to do. We're going to play gorilla and make every day a thriller. Whoa!
Now, first of all... Muhammad Ali already did that rhyme and did it
true.
way better.
Yes, he did.
I think you did. Are you talking about the thriller in Manila?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. What did Blaster say?
We
We need a folded Manila, and we're going to give him
he
a
rhymed
thriller?
gorilla with
We
thriller.
need a folder Manila.
That's right. He's talking about office supplies.
A folder Manila.
Gotta store his files.
And then Sunstreaker says, why did Ultra Magnus and the others abandon us? It isn't fair. Fair and player ain't nowhere when Decepticons playing shake and bake with the universe. Something up there gobbled up the third moon of Cybertron and put the Decepticons back together after we tore them apart, which he doesn't rhyme.
Lots of exposition.
So
in
apparently-
addition to non-rhyming.
Yeah, and he recognized that Galvatron and Cyclonus and the Sweeps were the Decepticons they killed. I don't know how, but then we cut to Cup telling the story of the Ick Yak, although he says, reminds me of the time we faced the Ick Yak cyborgs of Phosphor Norn.
Of course.
Snarl is not listed. They list all the other Dinobots. And then basically it's pretty much the same. Hot Rod is sparring with the Auto Combatant, which it is named that in here. It gives him the loud raspberry. And then there's a lot more of the story that Cup goes into, which is fairly boring, actually. And then
Only a Dinobot would find it exciting.
there is a part where, there's a part where Hot Rod goes over the intercom and talks to the other ship, and he talks to RC and Daniel. And Daniel basically is saying, Daniel asks if he can come over and visit the other shuttle. And it's like a hologram situation, so another thing from Star Wars.
Wait. So Daniel's asking if he can go over to the
If
other
Hot
shuttle
Rod can come over to their ship and visit.
and play.
Why?
To
Well,
play.
I'll tell you, Daniel, then you, me, and RC could play semi-conductor chess.
Oh my god.
Like classic chess just isn't good enough to make it to 2005.
Exactly.
As a game.
It's thousands
that
of years
people play.
old, but nope.
Semi-conductor chess.
And then Daniel
Do they do it or do they tell him to screw?
No, that's why this part is still cut out because nothing happens to it with it.
They
But basically, it's again.
they ignore him.
It plays up essentially the RC Hot Rod thing because Daniel's like, hey, please, RC, can he come over? And RC says coyly to Hot Rod's hologram, well, I suppose it would be all right.
What?
I know.
It says it's coily.
Yes.
But it's all...
That's weird.
It's all holograms. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just a hologram.
It's all holograms. So they're already over there. Like, please, can I come over? I'm already over there.
I
You
guess
know,
kinda.
hologram for.
Kinda, that, yeah.
I can just be over there. There's nothing you can do about it.
And then basically this is why it gets cut out and it's so stupid because then Springer comes up and says, hold the personal calls. Perceptor's going to lock coordinates on an energy transfer now leaving Earth and we need the circuits.
Okay.
So that just goes away and nothing ever comes up about it.
It should be hold all personal calls. We just got away from the Decepticons. We shouldn't be playing games right now. We should be on kind of high alert and figuring out our next move.
Yeah, and so after that, basically Perceptor, and this is much different, he plugs his fingers into the console board to interface directly with the computer, and then it cuts to back
No
on...
Bluetooth in these days.
Like he's trying.
2005.
Apparently, this energy transfer is like what Unicron did before with the slurping of the straw, and they're detecting that this is going to happen again. And so we cut back to Earth, where there's an angle on the assembly lines of the Energon cubes, and we see human slaves and Autobot slaves hauling Energon cubes under whips of Decepticon and sweep guards as they bring more cubes to the stack.
And where is that? On Earth?
That's on Earth.
Oh.
Where they're assembling more energy, and basically we we cut back to Perceptor finds out where the energy is going, which is into Ingester, and kind of has a weird that's shocking reaction. And this is the point again where Galvatron has now found them, and basically we get into this is kind of where the space battle happens, where Springer is uses an Ick Yack gun to shoot at them. It's like Ultramagnus says, "Cup, elevate force fields at once," and then. That's when Galvatron pushes the firing button on the console and eject canister bombs, which trail rocket exhaust.
The green
so
button.
basically exactly where this moment ends.
Wow, that's...
But it's funny how sometimes these minutes of yours, of this original or maybe a second draft of Ron Friedman's, do end up in points. Like, there are these kind of vectors of where it ends back up.
Yes.
But it gets back to the end of our minute.
It does.
It's just so much in
It
between.
is nothing like what happened. Like, all this bullshit about the cyber chess and the holograms,
Semi-conductor chess,
and the
please.
slaves on Earth, and the Autobots and the humans.
I am amazed, though, that it does seem to sync up. It gets back on the rails.
And I think that must have been what Dilly did, who paired all
That's
this
it.
stuff out and just kept beats.
I don't think Dilly's that hard to get. We need to get him. We need to figure out how to
We
somehow
say this all the time.
transmit it. I want to focus on the process of turning that into that. Mm-hmm. Turning the Friedman script into what's on screen.
Is Dilly approachable?
I think he seems approachable. I've
Let's
seen him
do
on
it.
other podcasts or heard him on other podcasts.
Yeah.
When I say he's not that hard to get, I don't mean to say that he doesn't have a life. I mean to say I think he'd be willing. I think it's
It's
possible.
worth a shot.
But
Right.
we should test out, we should test out how we might actually do that via Skype or whatever. I don't know technologically how we would
We
pull
need
it
to bring
off
him here
without putting
into
it on
the
there.
studio.
Fly him in.
You got an extra
Put
bedroom.
him up at the. I do. We'll put it up. Hell, that's a futon.
Yeah, that's true. Come spend the night, hang out with him, maybe take him out for a drink, some drinks.
Springfield, Missouri party time. Maybe he's got family here.
Why would you think that?
You know any Dillies?
Dilly Bar.
The Ozark Dillies.
Brings it back to the Dilly bars. So thank you. You know what? That'll be a good icebreaker for you to him. I was a manager at Dairy Queen. I used to get Dilly bars.
Your
Your name's
Dilly.
Frank Dilly.
Dilly.
Fair enough.
All right.
Remember that Ghost of Christmas Future?
Yes.
Vaguely.
Maybe it's about time for him to come back around.
Oh.
Nah. I heard he's working an extra shift at TJ Maxx.
On New Year's Eve?
Yeah, it's tough, but
So okay, we can.
I'm the ghost of the iconic moment.
You know.
I don't think this minute has any iconic moments.
I just I didn't have one for the last one. It's not so much. I did though, like you said, Aaron, where Galvatron pushes the button and just a million missiles come out of the ship. That I like that part a lot.
I said I wrote my notes are I don't like this minute, but as a kid I always liked action and explosions, so I'll go with Galvatron launching missiles.
I'll go with there we go. Did you have a differing opinion, Caleb?
Nope.
All right, it's 3 for 3. Next time on the Autopod Decepticast.
Polarities will be inverted.
Ugh, I got a lot to say about that
Me too. Maybe we should come together on this before.
right now. No for you.
Finally, Cyclonus turns his phasers to kill.
Good.
And that's it, everybody. Don't forget our listener appreciation event
Last chance.
between now and
Well, today.
Happy
midnight.
Happy New Year, everyone.
That's right.
Let's make 2018 a real humdinger of a year.
If there's any listeners out there who live in countries where there's elections going down and famous millionaire, 100 millionaire, is he a billionaire? Famous billionaires, it doesn't matter the size of their
Are we getting
wallet.
political right now?
All I'm saying is yes. We're getting political right now. All I'm saying is don't forget about our listener appreciation event that's happening right now. Send us a little note with your mailing address after, of course, you rate us on iTunes 5 stars. International listeners, send us extra information around
Let
your
us know
review
that you did it.
because we can't see it. So send us the review because we want to shout it out. And it's still a secret something. We've been very coy about it. All right, It will be. It's a surprise. It's a secret. I hope it's compelling enough that it was worth this long wait that you've had for
it
it.
Doesn't have to be compelling if it's free. Enjoy your free gift, assholes.
Continue and tell your friends to please listen to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn. Follow us on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all of them at Autopod Decepticast. And our web presence is autopoddecepticast.com. And iTunes users, I don't really need to say that. We've already covered it.
Yeah, 5 stars.
Just did 5 stars. Do it.
Do your thing. Bye, everybody.
Right,
Happy
bye,
New Year.
Bye,
Happy New
bye,
Year.
bye, 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 bye.
Should all acquaintance be forgot for ransom? My dear.
Please tell the story about your country club experience, about, for example, how kind of nice the guys can be, or funny the guys can be. Your story
The Stag Bar story?
Stag Bar.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I know you've told it a million times, but please tell
I'll
it.
see if I can remember
I don't even know what
it.
you're talking about.
You've probably heard the story. Okay, so this is one I love to tell. So, do you remember Friedis Turner?
Yes.
I don't know if he's still with us or not. He was pretty old by the time. I mean, this was a decade and a half ago. But so at the country club I worked, there was always a Sunday brunch, and people would come in. They'd be dressed up. They'd look nice. They'd eat off our buffet, have some champagne. And Mr. Turner is one of these guys. He was there every Sunday, always looking nice. He's a sweet old man. He walked around with a little bit of a hunch. Real nice guy. Everybody loved him. And I would see him. I ended up working in the Stag Bar. For those who aren't hip to the country club world, that's basically a bar at country clubs that's kind of situated between 9th and 10th holes. It's on the turn, so people come in, refill on beer, get a quick...
But only men.
Only men, I should say.
Men only at this
it is
thing.
gender segregated. Although women were allowed to poke their head in a little side window and be
They
like,
could come halfway in.
could
but
I
you
have
couldn't
some soup?
come
They had
up.
a hatch. They had a hatch. They could stick their head.
Basically, yeah.
That sounds
Basically.
nasty.
But they didn't want to be. You wouldn't want to be in there anyway.
That's the excuse all men. Oh, you don't want to.
No, well, I mean,
No,
but I mean, they should have the right to be in there,
Sure.
but they don't want to be in there because it's just dudes in there watching sports, smoking cigars, playing cards,
Cutting up.
cutting up. Like
Yeah.
that's where I've learned. Old men and young men, there's nothing really different about them other than they mellow out. Young men are always looking to get into fights. Old men, they just chill. They don't want to get into fights.
Right.
But anyway, so
Because they lose.
Mr. Turner.
I kicked their ass.
So Mr. Turner, he was always really well dressed. Actually, beyond Sundays, he was always really well dressed. But this was a Sunday, and I ended up working that Stag Bar area. And what that was like was bartending. Basically, all the guys are playing cards, watching television. There's 50 guys in there. I'm the only person that works at the club that's in there, and I'm getting them drinks, and I'm making them, like, if they need food, I'm doing some short order hamburgers and sandwiches, club sandwiches type stuff.
Right.
There's in the other options for food, there's a little soup station, which probably has chili or white bean soup in it. And then there's a hot dog station, which the hot dog station was notorious because people would always just rob hot dogs. It was just out in the open. If you weren't watching, you'd come, you just grab a hot dog and eat it.
Kind
And it was
of like on a rotisserie.
yeah, it was on a rotisserie
Yeah.
type situation. So my job is to, like, if somebody's getting a hot dog, I note it, and I note that,
Charge their ass.
John Thomas got the hot dog. Our British friends will enjoy that. But so Friedis Turner, this old man, and he's kind of like he's old and sweet. He talks really slowly. It feels like he's not all there.
Is he like Harvey? Is it Harvey Mole Man on The Simpsons?
I would say like that, but not pathetic.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So he
But
walks.
kind of
he
feeble?
walks really slow. He's on the
Uh-huh.
feeble side. He's skinny. He's got a little bit of a hunch, but he's very well dressed. And he talks really slowly too. Like maybe he's had a stroke or something like
Sure.
that. But he's always very nice, and he comes like stumbling up to the hot dog, to the rotisserie hot dog,
Has he had anything to
and by
drink?
stumbling, yes, he's been down at Sunday brunch already.
He's been drinking.
He's been drinking all morning long.
All right, he can stumble.
but honestly, that's kind of insignificant to the story. But he had been drinking all morning
He
long.
earns the right to stumble.
But stumble isn't really the right word. I would say just like
Shuffle.
the crawling version of walking is what he's doing.
Okay.
And he comes up to the hot dog rotisserie, and he does what so many people do, which guys will just come in there, dirty golfers, and grab a hot dog. This is also during the craze of what's the low carb diet that everybody did back in the early Atkins. Yeah, this is the Atkins craze. So people come in all the time, grab a hot dog,
grab a hot wiener.
not put it in a bun,
Sans bun.
and just eat it. And sometimes they'd hold it in their hands, they'd put ketchup on it and just eat it. Ugh. So people were just eating hot dogs bunless all the time. And I don't know if that's not why Mr. Turner did it, but he goes over and grabs a hot dog and just slowly and shakily
is it like
rears it up to his mouth and like takes his first bite off of the end of it, and then I hear this guy, I can't remember who it was.
Is it like Nothing But Trouble?
I can't. Yeah, kind of. Yes, it is kind of like that. But then I hear. Remember, we're in the stag bar with all these dirty, rowdy golfer,
no women
drinker,
around. No women.
So a guy, probably in his mid 30s to early 40s, he just yells from across the room. He goes, "Hey there, Fritas! You got a hot dog there, you old cocksucker!" Anyway, so. I mean, they were being funny. They were all friends. Frida, so Mr. Turner, Fritas, he's chewing up the bite of the hot dog just real slowly, and he just turns his head slowly to me, and keeps chewing and swallows. He swallows, then he lifts his other finger and he goes, "You suck one cock."
Wow.
Which is an old vaudevillian kind of joke.
That's great.
I didn't hear him, but I'd never heard that joke
Without
before
missing
that.
a beat.
Without he missed several beats, but it still hit right on time.
That's amazing.
I love that story, man. I love it.
You suck one cock.
Suck one cock.
It's coming out of that guy. I'd never heard him say anything like that before.